Blessed listener, today I'm speaking about knowing God for who He is and what He gives us. You are a prayer machine. You are a rocket launcher. You are a bazooka. And I want us to learn from the Word of God. And we're going to read Matthew chapter 6, verse 6 to 8. It says, "But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain reputations as the heathens do, for they think they shall be heard for they much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask." So, blessed listener, the word says, shut the door and pray. The door is not only the door of the house. Today I'm speaking about you today. You are a house of prayer. And even in your thoughts, I want you to get what Jesus is saying. Shut the door. Shut the door and pray. The Word of God says that your Father knows what you need. How does He know what you need? Because you and Him are one. You need the same thing. You have aligned yourself with the needs of the Father. But when you become so selfish, you start to need those things that satisfies the flesh. Blessed listener, you will end up saying, God is unfair. I have been in this situation for a long time, and God is not doing anything. Because whatever that you need is in line with the flesh. Because your prayer has so much flesh motives, desires, pleasures. I'm speaking to someone today. Even the need to pray and ask, so that when people to see you see that you are a child of God. God gave me this so that they can see that I'm a child. But shut the door and pray. Do not be like the hypocrites. The word hypocrites comes from a Greek word called yektopos. Yektopos in Greek means acting. And during that time, when the Greeks, they loved theater, they loved to act. So the word yektopa means acting. So these people would take a costume or a mask and act a certain character, and after that they remove all that acting and they are normal. And there are many today, blessed listener, that look Christian but they are not. There are many today that speak Christian but yet they are not. There are many today that know how to present like a Christian but yet are not presented in heart. Yet they know, they have learned the body. Just like the word hypocrites. The hypocrites, they want to be seen. It's an act. They know how to act. When the man of God comes to the house, they can remove those plates, those cups that are in the display, remove baskets, juice, and present and kneel before the man of God. And yet the husband is looking and in his thought is saying, if only he knew who my wife truly is. There are many out there that are hypocrites, dressing like a hypocrite. They want to be seen, they are full of pride. Whatever they do, it is about them. Whatever they do, it is not the Father. But if you want God, when He looks at you to see Himself, learn to shut the door. I mean, you need to work. And when you work, you can't work when somebody constantly comes and opens the door. or you opening the door to see what they are doing. Shut that door. Let God be your God in your life, and let reverence be your reverence in your life. The word of God is clear. Learn to shut the door. Someone once said to me that a person has 2 mouths, the inner mouth and the outer one. The inner mouth is forever talking. Even if you can look at the person and see that they are quiet, but inside they are talking. So if you do not feed yourself with the word, you end up with whatever that you are talking inside being a complaint. It ends up being a worry. You end up being an Israelite, a complainer. So let us stop complaining. The word of God tells us that a murmuring wife is like a leaking roof. We find that in the book of Proverbs. So if you do not feed yourself with the word, you end up with whatever that you are talking inside being a complaint. In your walk with God, fill yourself more with the word and pray, and God will be pleased with you. The Israelites walked with God for 40 years, but in those years they were not praying. They were complaining. They were murmuring. They never even wanted to give themselves a chance to know God. That is why the word says God revealed his way only to Moses. Why was God just revealing to one man, Moses, when yet Moses had a whole entire nation? I want us to learn, blessed listener. But to the children of Israel, he revealed his deeds. It was only what God can do to them. They never wanted to know God for who he is. And many today, blessed listener, you come to God because you want good deeds, you want favor, you want blessing, you want acceleration in speed in business, you want favor, you want marriage, you want children, you want health. But the question is, do you want to know God beyond that? Even today, we still have such Christians who only want God for what God can do for them, not for who God is. I'm in this situation. If I pray, Father, do something, what if God does not do anything? That is the question. You will end up cursing God and die. Just like the wife of Job. When the wife of Job saw what was happening to Job, she says, why don't you curse God and just die? You become like Job's wife. You will end up cursing God to die. God, I have been born again for so long, but I do not see any movement. I do not see anything shaking. What are you feeding yourself with? That is the question. You may be saying, I've been suffering, I've been crying for years. My neighbor is being blessed, but yet they are not Christians. The thing is, what are you feeding yourself? The word. Are you praying like you are supposed to be? Or you are only worshiping God with lips? And that's how hypocrites are found. Eloquency in lips, in speech. But God is not found. So many practice lip syncing. When I mean lip syncing, when I used to be in school, in primary school, we used to have lip syncing, and they'd play a song and you'd have to mimic how the song, the singer sings the song as if it's you singing it, and you'd have to dance and move. And many today are lip syncing before God. You are not singing the right song, but instead you come with lip syncing. What are you feeding yourself with? Are you feeding yourself the word? Are you praying like you are supposed to be? That is the question. Or you only worshiping God with lips, but your heart is far from him. If you want to know God for who he is, dwell more dwell more in the word and pray, you will end up becoming God yourself. God will look at you and say, this one is mine, this one is my bond servant. And so when we read the word of God in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, Jesus tells us that when you go pray, do not use vain reputations like the hypocrites do, using big words, but go into the room and shut the door. And your Father knows what you need. He knows. If your father and mother brought you up when you were still a baby and you couldn't even say any words, you'd speak baby language, but your mother knew that you are hungry, that I need to change you, that I need to bath you. Your father knew. How much more about God? And some of you limit God. You limit who God is. Many of you are having weird dreams. You are so troubled by these weird dreams that you are dreaming because you never shut the door in your thoughts. You have opened the door for a lot of things, for worry. You are complaining. So if God can answer your thoughts, what if your thoughts are so clean? Your thoughts are so full of the word of God. Just imagine. Things can just happen without even you saying a word. You can even raise the dead without you even saying a word. By just having a mere clean thought. By shutting the door and not allowing a lot of things to enter into your house. Remember, you are the dwelling of God. But God cannot dwell where there are so many things. God only goes where there is His Spirit. So if you will fill your body with a lot of things, just like your phone, the phone that you are listening, or the device that you are listening to me today, if there is so much storage on your phone, how is it going to run? Will it run the first day that you received it? Will it be as fast, as sharp as the first day you received it? Will your battery be as powerful the first day that you received the gadget or the phone that you are listening to me today with? And some of you just filled with stuff. You just filled with unnecessary stuff. Let the greatest thing be God in your life. We have so many worried Christians today. People are worried. They just want everything to be in their favor. They cry about everything. Who said you need to cry? They say, hey God, I'm unemployed. Who said you need employment? You just need His presence and things will just happen without you working. You just need to be filled with God. And where God is, trouble does not stay. You cannot worry. You cannot be in situations for so long where God is there. So now when we go to the word of God, we find liberty. Going to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17, you cannot be bound. It says, if any man defileth the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, with temple ye are. Blessed listener, I hope someone is getting this teaching. There is no way you can be troubled by so many things. They will put you inside the fire. They will just see the second person with you there, thinking that the fire will burn, because you are the fire yourself. When you enter into the fire, you become one. But you cannot say such things unless you dwell more in prayer. Have you ever been in a situation and you become one with the situation? When Daniel was put into the lion's den, he became one with them. That is why they never saw the need to eat Daniel in the book of Daniel chapter 6. Pray to a point where you become an answer. Pray to a point where you become a solution, to a point where when you enter into trouble, you become one with the trouble. Those who say, no one can enter here, no one can qualify, no one can get out of this situation, they will be surprised that you can do it. You can go in and come out without anything harming you. But for that to happen, for you to be in that state, you just need to know God for who He is. Stop knowing God for what He can do. Stop knowing God for putting a plate of food on your table. Know God for beyond the food on the table. You just need to know God to dwell in you and shut the door. You do not need to open a door for a lot of things. What causes you to be confused as children of God? What have you opened the door for? Hence Paul ended up saying, you foolish Galatians, who bewitched you? Because Christ was not being portrayed in their lives. So they were bewitched. They were astray. You started well, but what happened now? We find in Galatians 3, you know yourself, you used to pray, you know yourself, you used to dwell more in the word. You know yourself, you used to pray in tongues. You know yourself, you used to meditate in the word. You know yourself, you used to fast. But who bewitched you? Who cast a spell on you? You opened the door for a lot of things.